All right, so the deadline to register with California's bullet button assault weapons registration is tomorrow.
All right, so joining us now in studio is legal expert Wendy Patrick to answer some of these questions we probably all have when it comes to big law changes like this. There's a couple deadlines this week. Let's first talk about tomorrow being the deadline to register an assault weapon for those who have them.
Yes.
And I believe you can't buy them, assault weapons here in California, starting tomorrow. Is that right?
That's right. But if you have them, you have until tomorrow at 11:59 and 59 seconds to register it.
Okay.
And there's some confusion in California because we have, we've got 6 million gun owners, first of all.
Wow.
If you own a gun, you've got to know what the law is. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. But because there are so many different kinds of laws, the best thing I always advise people to do is go online and read the changes that relate to the kind of guns you might already know, you might already own, and also relate to the kinds of guns you might want to buy. So there is just too much information out there to be able to say, but I didn't understand this was a gun I could have without registering it.
There's some question about assault weapons as well. I just want to follow up. Is there some discrepancy as to what people perceive might be an assault weapon?
There's different definitions that have evolved over the years, and that's a great question. You know, you talk about the issue of fixed magazines, of long guns, of shotguns, of different kinds of guns that can be altered. And in order to determine what qualifies as an assault weapon, I could sit here for the rest of the day if we have that kind of time and go through the exceptions in the list. But the best thing people can do to make sure that they're in compliance with the law is go on the site themselves and take a look at and see if what they have as their own personal gun qualifies. Maybe it didn't qualify 10 years ago, but maybe it qualifies today. That's important for people to know too.
Wendy, given the state of affairs that we're in lately, a lot of people are thinking about getting a gun. What do they need to know going forward? And I mean, given the deadline is tomorrow, obviously the offices are closed. What is the best way to get their guns registered?
Well, there's a lot you can do online nowadays, just like anything else. But lots of people, especially every time we have a mass shooting, I hate to say it, they think about their own safety and whether or not they should go and purchase a gun. When you think about that question, not only do you want to research and try out at a gun safety range what might work for you, but you also want to look at how you're going to store that gun. Too many of our recent shootings have been the result of improper storage, allowing dangerous people to get a hold of those guns that were otherwise lawfully possessed. So if you're thinking about buying a gun, you not only want to look at what kind of guns are legal, how you get them, what the background check is. Ammunition is something you have to be able to legally buy as well. But then how are you going to store that gun in a fashion that's going to protect not only yourself, but protect you from other people breaking in, relatives, anybody else, and getting those guns? Sometimes it's children that don't know any better that unfortunately get their hands on some of these guns, innocently enough, but then with deadly consequences.
Do you know anything about the genesis of this law as to, kind of what led to it? Here we are, July 1st being the implementation of it. But what led to this law being passed here in California, or how it got here?
I think the genesis of a lot of these laws is the same across the country. It's the fact that every time we have mass shootings, the solution is not to ban guns, but the solution might be to consider ways in which we can more effectively, I hate to use the word restrict, nobody likes that, let's say regulate, let's use that word, regulate safe use of guns in a fashion that we can protect ourselves and our loved ones, and making sure that they stay out of the hands of people that shouldn't have them. Wouldn't that be, it's easier said than done is what you're no doubt thinking. But that's the genesis of a lot of these kinds of laws across the country.
And really what you're indicating too is people need to do some research at this point now, knowing these new laws going into effect, make sure that they know what they own, how it applies, and what they need to do about it.
Responsible gun ownership is the way to go.
All right, Wendy,
absolutely right.
We appreciate it, as
Thank
always.
you.
Thank you very much.